Hi, everyone. I am Tina Olivero, your host of SAFEcationNL, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my desk. My desk is right here. I'm my guest, who has a tourism business, who's been doing amazing in spite of COVID-19, who is an inspiration to us all because she's so super creative. Parsons-So, who has created her own hiking and kayaking tour business that is really starting to take off, did great this summer, and she is an incredible storyteller. Wind at your back adventures. Let's hear from Barb about what it's like, what's going on in your tours, what's happening over there in Greatscope, which is where you're spending a lot of time. Tell us a story.
Hey, yeah, I've been partnered up with Greatscope Studios this year. You want to talk about a whole lot of talent in one place? Courtney and Terrence are this dynamic duo. Courtney is from Louisiana, and Terrence has roots in Greatscope, but was raised in Old Perlican. So they do, well, I mean, they're an award-winning restaurant. I mean, they're very artsy. They're some of the kindest people I've ever met. So the partnership has been off the charts, like so amazing. You're welcome there. And let me tell you, you won't find a better bite to eat. So good. So I've been, partnered up with them and learning about Greats Cove and doing the tours down there, and they provide the food. So one of the stories from Greats Cove is about the shipwreck of the Molly, and it happened right in the harbor. I'll do my little Golden Girls now. Picture this, Greats Cove, 1940.
19.
And it was December 20th, 1940. Yeah.
19.
So December the 20th, and so right before Christmas. And anyway, the people there, you can imagine prepping for Christmas, kids are excited, everything else. But at that time, there was a ship called, a schooner called the Molly that was leaving St. John's Harbor, headed for Carmenville. So that ship had a crew of 4, and they were left St. John's Harbor. They were seen passing Beatty Verde. Everything was fine, and they got to hold on, my husband's walked in. This is seriously, hi Dwayne. He's staring at me. So they got to Greats Cove, and a storm came up. So it took them right as they passed Bacaloo Island, and the cliffs of Bacaloo. There's a song about it, so we all know how dangerous that is. There's been many shipwrecks off there. So they got battered by the storm and were brought into Greats Cove Harbor, and right in a little horseshoe cove in there, the ship got wrecked, and 4 of the men that were on the crew lost their lives.
Wow.
So in the midst of all this, all the local fishermen, because as happens in Newfoundland, and like if something like that happens and you need to do a body recovery, those men know the currents in the harbor. They know how everything happens out there. So they took turns. 13 crews of men in little ships, like little rowboats, went out, and they found those 4 bodies.
Wow.
In between this, then there's a salvage, because I always say, like, in that time, that was like, live or die situations, and you can imagine that ship was full of supplies.
Right.
So they're dealing with this loss of life, but they also have this new wealth of supplies floating around out in the harbor. So they're doing salvage as well as trying to get these bodies.
Right.
In between all that, a radio call comes from St. John's, and they find out that a young man that was on the docks wanted to get home to Carmenville to see his mom, and he got on the ship as well. So there's 5 of them, but they only had the 4.
Oh, wow.
So the men go out, and they find this other body. They found them all. Terrence tells about his grandmother telling him the story. She was only a little girl at the time, and she remembers the men building caskets. They had the bodies laid out in the lodge. They washed them up, and they got some of the men's clothes, put them in nice suits and everything, and put them in the caskets ready to send home. But in the midst of this storm and wintertime in Greatscope, ships didn't come and go. It's too dangerous. So they put these caskets on slides and brought them over the back roads to New Perlican. And the Northern Ranger was there. The big ship came in, picked up the bodies, and brought them back to Carmenville. So they got there on New Year's Eve. The families got to see the men, and they were young men, and they buried them on New Year's Day.
Wow. My mom is here listening as you're talking. She said, I get shivers up my back just listening to that. She has no idea what we were up to here. But
I just heard you say Greatscope.
Greatscope, yes, because our family's from Greatscope. My grandfather was Headley Snellgrove from Greatscope, who eventually went on to become a Grand Poobah in the Masonic.
Yep.
Yeah. So Greatscope has so many stories. In fact, there's a lot of shipwreck stories around coastlines of Newfoundland. My brother is a diver with Ocean Quest, and those guys are having the time of their lives just diving some of the greatest shipwrecks in the world. So
his pictures recently from down St. Lawrence, amazing.
Yeah.
Little cute Johnny O. I could squish him.
He's the sweetest for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great story. Awesome. I'm going to share that with all of our SAFEcationNLers. And
that's only one of them. The whole day in Greatscope is full of them.
Full of stories. And you're such a good storyteller too. You're Mom wants to know if you're from Greatscope.
What's Mom saying? What's Mom saying?
What do you know so much about Greatscope?
Look, little Johnny O's mom. I've seen her in lots of pictures. Hi. I'm a good talker, but I'm also a good listener. So I have talked to people down there, listened to their stories, absorbed them, and then I can just tell them again.
Yeah,
I think the tradition of oral storytelling in Newfoundland is very important.
Off Greatscope too.
Mom,
years ago when they used to go up to Labrador fishing and stuff.
Mom said our family lost a boat in Greatscope.
Yeah. I know about the ocean. My dad was, before I was born, my dad was a first mate with the Hudson's Bay Company on the Pierre Radisson.
Wow.
So he sailed the world. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, my dad sold salt fish from Newfoundland, to all over the world. He set it up the salt fish.
My grandfather worked at
with
Sears Fish Plant. And we exported bacalao all over the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's a little bit of history.
Anyway, I was real thrilled, but it was giving me shivers up my back listening to what you were saying.
That's why we're telling stories and we're taking it.
That's right.
The internet. So you're going to be a star, Mom.
Well.
Like I said, our oral storytelling tradition in Newfoundland is so important, and more people need to get into it, and we need to keep that going. Writing it down is great, but the ability to tell a good story is something else.
Well, it's funny how that makes the energy in your back, just listening to the stuff you're saying.
She gets shivers up her back. Well,
I'm okay. If I'm approved by Mom, the world is good.
You got the 2 thumbs up. But that's what SAFEcation is all about. It's about people being able to tell their stories from their own vantage point, whether it's through pictures, through posts, through storytelling, through videos, whatever medium it is. It's let's pass on all of our history, all of our culture, and let's share it with everybody. Because why not?
For sure.
The most amazing, incredible places in the world. So thanks for taking the time to do the interview with me, and we'll see you in the SAFEcationNL page for the next story, the next adventure. Ciao.